Let me quickly introduce Bob Bakish. He's the Chief Executive Officer and the President of Viacom, with a contrasting and yet complementary take on the golden age of television. Bob, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Great to be here at the Festival of Media, although I need the clicker. It seems to, there it is. Sorry, we're good. Yeah, thrilled to be at the Festival of Media. You know, Viacom, obviously a global company, but Latin America, a key growth market for the world, and therefore the continuing focus of a lot of our attention. And obviously the related ad community, agencies, and clients are critical to that, so thanks for having me today. I'm going to talk about some trends we see in the marketplace, some that are consistent with the past, some that are different with the past, and then I'm going to move on to some examples about how we're proactively addressing them across our business. And I think it'll be a good follow-on to Gerhard's conversation, and obviously we'll set up the Q&A. But first, just a snapshot of Viacom International Media Networks. We operate over 200 linear television channels in 170 countries. We transmit in 40 languages, and we pass 3.2 billion cumulative households. So we have a very large media reach. That's also complemented by hundreds of digital properties, distribution over the top, and in other ways as well, and we'll get into that. We operate a portfolio of brands. I'm sure you know most, if not all of them, things like MTV, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, which 2 years ago was really a US and European brand. Today is a global brand. It's in Latin America, it's in Africa, it's in India, it's in Russia, et cetera. The Paramount Channel, which is our newest global brand, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Colors, which is a powerhouse Indian entertainment brand operated through our joint venture with Viacom 18 and also distributed around the world. BET for fans of black culture, and by the way, BET launched on MultiChoice in Africa yesterday, so we're excited about that. And Trez for the US Hispanic consumer. Not on the slide is Channel 5. That's the large UK broadcaster that we acquired in September, and also the focus of a lot of content. So with that as a stage set, let's talk about truths that have been true for a long time and really that endure. First, content is still king. At the end of the day, or the middle of the day for that matter, consumers want to see great stuff. Might be a feature film, might be a TV series, might be some music they want to listen to, and yes, today it might be short form video, it might be a GIF. But what unites all that is content. People don't watch technology, people watch content. 2, brands. Gerhard said it, he has research at Turner, we have research at Viacom. Consumers need brands to navigate in this endless sea of choice they face today. And the research confirms a large proportion of viewing decisions and consumption in general is made on the basis of brands. So yes, in an on-demand world, brands are alive and well, and they will continue to prosper provided they serve the consumer. 3, the enduring influence of media and advertising. Everyone in this room probably is associated with advertising. Good news is our research say, even including with millennials, those young generation that people think at the end of the day only do what their friends tell them on social networks. Wrong. The most influential media on decision-making for consumers remains television advertising. And it's for a lot of reasons, including the environment, the ability to target, et cetera. Media advertising continues to matter enormously today. And lastly, the role of youth in driving change. All you have to do is look at Hong Kong this morning in the pictures. Who's in the streets? Youth. It might be technology, it might be geopolitical stuff. If you want to know where the world is going, watch the youth. It's why we spend a lot of time. We interviewed 60,000 millennials last year out of a total research base of 160,000. Track the youth and you'll see where it's going. That said, things have changed. We obviously have an explosion of accessibility and interactivity. You all have smartphones, tablets, and they're not just used for communicating, they're also used for media consumption. But at the same time, contrary to popular perception, in Latin America, 90% of the people in 2014 used linear television. So in this explosion of accessibility, linear television still matters a lot, in addition to the 7 or 8 devices they might have, et cetera. 2, consumers have a higher expectation for immediacy and pace of change. What do we mean by that? Maybe everyone's getting ADD, but the reality is, if you look at the shows we're making today versus 10 years ago, they have more story arcs. Even within, between 2 commercial breaks, you probably have a couple story arcs going on, even in reality shows. It's just the way it is. 3, the world has never been smaller. Probably started with 24-hour news networks, but today everyone's plugged into what's going on everywhere. And that means they like to see the global hits, and it also means they like to reflect their local cultures, because our research also shows they're extremely proud of where they come from, and they want to share that. 4, in this sea of digital interactivity, in-person has never been more important. You see that in the selfie craze. In fact, if you look at the research, I was there is more important than I own that to millennials. And so you see us at Viacom doing a lot on the event side, connecting people with other people in real life experiences, and of course, leveraging media to transmit that to the broader people that aren't there. All of this impacts everything we do. Long-form programming, our events, how we think about and launch new networks, what they are actually, how we market, and of course, how we serve our constituencies, including advertisers and agencies in the form of marketing partnerships. So let's briefly talk about each. Long form. When I took this job 7 years ago, the hit show on MTV was a glossy show called The Hills. If you looked at research over the last couple of years, what you saw is people wanted more authentic, people wanted grittier, and that spawned the show Jersey Shore, which, by the way, we weren't convinced a hard partying crowd from New Jersey would resonate in Africa, but it actually did. The show traveled pretty well, and people were entertained by it. But more important, to Gerard's point on local, we said, you know what? We can make this resonate more strongly with local format versions. So we created Geordie Shore in the UK, now in its 9th season, highest rated show in the history of MTV UK, which is a pretty good trick considering the landscape we live in. Gandia Shore in Spain, highest rated show in the history of digital terrestrial television against 16 to 24s at the time it aired. Probably still true. Warsaw Shore, our Polish version, which we did this year, transformed ratings in Poland for MTV. And yes, Acapulco Shore. Now, don't laugh. First of all, I have to say, it's got the best looking cast. Must be something to this Latin thing. But more important, it debuted last week, and we got the ratings yesterday, and they were 3x the average, and it's a top 10 show. The Shores phenomenon is coming to Latin America. It has arrived, and you should get on board now, because all the arcs of ratings show the thing gets huge. And if you look at the digital activity around it, it's already very significant. So we're thrilled to be bringing the Shores to this great continent. It's also impacted our events. 10 years ago, the European Music Awards was an okay show. It was only about Europe. It was certainly just linear television. Today, the EMA is a global event. It travels city to city, has an incredible lineup. It is very multi-platform. We run this kind of World Cup of music with voting for your favorite act that goes through geographic brackets, and ultimately somebody wins. Hundreds of millions of votes last year. In the first week, last week that we put the stuff up, we got 150 million votes this year. So very multi-platform, and our sponsors come along too. For example, Essence, the European cosmetic brand, beauty brand, they're a returning sponsor in 14, they were a sponsor in 13, and it is very multi-platform what they're doing. They're associated with a specific award. They obviously have linear inventory. They have all kind of digital inventory. There's an app related to it, et cetera. It's an example of state-of-the-art marketing circa 2014. The Millennial Awards, a Latin American franchise, debuted last year, came back for the second year in Mexico. It's sort of a celebration of youth with a music backbone digitally. The first year out, it was very Mexico-centric. This year, it was very Latin America. It kind of broke out from the geographic boundaries of Mexico. And this is going to be a returning event that will get bigger and will probably expand worldwide. New networks. Sure, we still launch linear networks. In fact, yesterday we launched BET on MultiChoice. We launched two Nickelodeon derivatives also, a Teen Nick and a Nick Jr. But we also do other kinds of things. My Nick Jr. It's a virtual, personalized, educationally oriented preschool network for your child. As parents, you define educational parameters you're interested in, creative exploration, maybe math. The app goes through the Nickelodeon Junior library, picks out relevant episodes, plays them back for your kid. If they don't like it, they can press skip. It'll play back another one. And if you have to go out and run and get some milk, no problem. Press pause on your TV, pick up your tablet, get in your car. Kid presses play, picks up where it left off. Developed in France for CanalSat. Consumer research was off the hook, and now rolling out all around the world, including the US, including Latin America. It's a very contemporary Nickelodeon. The Nick app. Short form, games, long form. In a kid-centric way, including things like the Do Not Touch button, it's a contemporary version of Nickelodeon. 600,000 downloads to date in Latin America. And yes, there's ad inventory there too. And speaking of new networks, our fourth global brand, the Paramount Channel. Now this is not your regular ad-supported movie channel. It is, again, a contemporary version of it. It comes with catch-up VOD. It comes with an app that allows you to get programmatic information, stream movie soundtracks, etc. It's in Spain, it's in France, it's in Russia, it's in Hungary, it's in Romania, and yes, it's coming to Latin America in November. So let's take a look at the Paramount Channel.
Цель вашей поездки, бизнес, туризм. Просто так, шопинг. Я по делу.
En fait, ce qu'elle attend, c'est un engagement de ma part. Traduction, madame veut m'apprivoiser.
As time passed, and the sorts of people I could be.
Kérem, jegyezze fel, hogy a tanú egy pohár vizet öntött az asztalomra. ¿Está bien? Sí, muy bien, no ha sido nada, amigo. ¿Seguro?
Ma maman disait toujours, la vie, c'est comme une boîte de chocolat. On sait jamais sur quoi on va tomber.
And by the way, that network, in this day and age, is launching on 10 million homes in Latin America. That's no mean trick. The network is amazing. Check it out. You will see it will be a big hit in Latin America. And it's great. You know, the film studios, I was talking to a film studio client last night at the Lamac thing. They're already on board as an advertiser. So I would encourage you to check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then all this is impacting marketing. You know, content is marketing, marketing is content. It's a very, dare I say, interactive, integrated world. And you just have to look at one of the shows on MTV, Are You the One, to see that. Now, when we launched Are You the One, we did things like we post Instagram pictures of the cast before the show goes. We have them tweet with people. You build using the digital environments as you approach the linear premiere, and then, of course, you extend the consumer experience for true fans. Never been a better time to be a fan of television as the show goes on. And yes, we wrote an app for that. The app's really cool. It's called Matchmaker. What does it do? It goes to your Facebook page, looks at all your friends, and figures out who you would be best matched with. Developed in North Europe, ultimately used for all our MTVs, 17 million people ran 300 million matches. Very cool, and I'm excited to say there's a new version of the app coming out for season 2. This one we did with our US partner, MTV, and it's going to roll out globally from day one, so it'll be even bigger. So with that, I hope some of these examples helped you understand how we at Viacom International Media Networks are dealing with this new exciting environment to ensure that the golden age of television remains and to ensure that our constituencies, be them distributors, be them licensees, be they advertisers, also can benefit from the tremendous opportunities this world provides. But as Gerhard said, through all this, if there's one thing you got to remember, follow the consumer. We have 100 people around the world researching the consumer every day. We talked to 160,000 of them last year as part of our ongoing research. And it is why I believe we continue to prosper in this changing world. Thank you.
Bob, come and join us here in the middle. Along with Gerhard, we do have time for a few questions. Can we have light on the floor to see if anybody wants to get started with questions? If not, I will kick it off. Anybody? Raise your hands. Don't be bashful. Podéis preguntar en español, en portugués, en portuñol. Come on. No, right, I'll get started. You have made a very, very compelling case for indeed this being the golden age of television and a great opportunity for a lot of brand owners to engage with you. And yet, the format of engaging seems to be the same. The 30-second commercial, on the internet, the pre-roll. What else can a brand do to engage better with your content? Is it perhaps engaging with the channel, as you're saying, the channel perhaps being preeminent in some cases to the program? Or is it still associating yourself with, hit programs? Bob, to you first.
Well, as I thought I gave some examples, but let's talk about it. So the 30-second spot remains very important. Why? It's a great medium to tell a story. It has proven over and over again through research to be able to deliver an effective message. You can locate it in an environment that is high quality, makes sense. So it continues to be very important as an advertising medium. That said, it's a piece of the plan. The Essence example I gave you, yeah, they have some 30-second spots. They're also associated with a particular award. We are doing we have a partnership with Twitter Amplify, which we use to package as part of, in this case, the Glasgow EMA. So it's part of an overall media campaign of which the 30-second spot remains a very important cornerstone, but again, there is more going on than just the 30 seconds. That's what particularly sophisticated advertisers who have significant funds to commit, that's what they want.
They're still asking for that, for those slots.
Well, the combination, but the spots matter too, yes.
Go ahead.
And this, I think that there has never been a time where there are more opportunities for brand co-ownerships, for sponsoring. I mean, I don't have to take the example of CNN International. We have more than 200 million on pan-regional sponsoring money all over the world. But also for entertainment channels, for kids channels, brand entertainment, brand advertising becomes more and more important. To have the right content, but also the right brand, the right program, but also the right brand, to associate with the brand. I think with all the new channels, with this much more targeting available for advertisers. I think to find the right brand and the right program an advertiser want to be associated with, there's never been a better time.
Let me talk about native advertising, because in a way you began the concept of native advertising with product placement many, many years ago. And yet it's evolved, and a big thing at the moment is branded content. How can you get branded content to fit with your channels, with your programs? Because I know that it is a battle inside the production departments, and the content makers are winning, and they're pushing back a lot of this branded content associations with the program. So what kind of branded content can work with this golden age of television?
I think it's not about a fight between producers and advertisers and the channels in the middle. It's about execution. I mean, nobody wants TV advertising on TV to be disruptive. Nobody wants it to be intrusive, because then it doesn't work anymore. And that's the reason why I think we, at our channels, we have a whole department to work together, how we can integrate the messages of the advertising with the messages of the channel, with the message of the programs. It's all about execution.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's various forms of integration, if you will. Sometimes it's integrating a client into an existing property we have, and we certainly do a lot of that. Sometimes it's getting involved in a new idea together with a client. It all will come down to execution. If you force it too much, if it feels awkward, it doesn't work. But there's plenty of stuff that works. And by the way, it's also, going back, it's not just in the show, it's the multi-platform thing again.
Yes, of
that Matchmaker app, it's being sponsored by Durex in the second season. You know, so there again is an opportunity to work with a client and make them part of this elongated media experience. So you just got to do it right.
Right. Let me open up to the floor. One last chance for you to put questions to two great media owners, Viacom and Turner, here with us. The protagonists making it all happen throughout the world. Nobody? Remarkable. Right. I am determined to get you to ask questions later. So be ready with questions for the next segments. But we have to leave it there. Gerhard and Bob, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Round of
Thanks,
applause.
George. Thanks, Gerhard.
And good luck for it. Good luck.